So welcome all. We'll get started in about 2 more minutes. Yeah. So Sandeep, in the meantime, you can start sharing your screen, please.
Yes,
I'll quickly introduce you. Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you.
Sir, is it visible, sir?
Yes,
Yes.
Sandeep.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
So, friends, welcome to this BioClues webinar. And today, we are quite happy, ecstatic, and honored to have Sandeep Kumar, who volunteered to give this wonderful talk on transportation noise, an emerging risk factor for cardiovascular diseases. From the title itself, this is absolutely a kind of an emerging talk, a very enticing talk, and certainly a kind of a need of the hour, at least in the post-COVID times. So Sandeep did his MSc and a PhD from University College and Osmania University, Hyderabad. He obtained his PhD in genetics, and then he went on to work for Shadan College, and also he worked for his alma mater, Osmania University College. Before he has taken up his assistant professorship at Jain University, which is a kind of a deemed to be university in Bangalore, where he started his own group as a kind of an early career researcher. And I'm sure we'll not wait more for this interesting talk. So thank you so much, Sandeep. The floor is yours. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, first of all, I would like to thank Prashant sir, Sugnakar sir, and the entire BioClues team for giving me this opportunity to present this talk on transportation noise and its effect on the cardiovascular diseases. So, I have completed my entire PhD on the cardiovascular biology, and I feel that I should do some justice by giving certain kind of talks on this particular topic to generate awareness in the population about this particular area. So now this is for our today's roadmap. I will be giving you a short introduction firstly. Then secondly, we will be talking about the different risk factors which are involved in the CVDs. Then we will be having a small discussion on the Indian context. What is the overall picture in India regarding CVDs? Then we will talk about the epidemiological condition of these CVDs, noise pollution and CVDs, which is occurring globally. Then fifthly, we will be talking about some of the most important human studies which are very, very important in starting this particular noise pollution and CVDs association. Then we will move to some animal diseases like animal studies on which how the things were happening and what kind of things we came to know from the animal studies. Then we will be talking the mechanism how this is entire thing is happening. Then we will move on to the circadian clock and epigenetics, which are very, very important research topics in the present area. And finally, we will be talking about how we can solve this particular noise pollution problem, because whatever transportation is there, that is our need. Without transportation, we cannot move ahead. But what we have to do, we have to balance transportation and noise problem so that we could able to use both of them in a proper way. So normally whatever noise we have, so we don't put a lots of stress. Whatever noise we get every day, like traffic, while moving from one place to another place, when we are putting our TV on a high sound, or when we are listening music at a high particular sound, we don't bother much. But it is a very bad thing, and we have to take this thing very seriously, because anything which is more than required is going to cause a big problem. For example, whenever we have this noise, like whenever we are getting more sound than required for our ears, so we have series of biochemical changes which are occurring in our body that are not good for us, and these are the different kind of problems which are associated with the this particular aspect, like delayed cognitive development in children, psychological triggers for individual with PTSD, lower threshold for noise resulting in sleep disturbances, increased heartbeat, changes in immune system, anxiety, annoyance, mood shifts, elevation of cortisol production, hypertension, myocardial infarction, vasoconstriction, elevated blood pressure, elevated adrenaline levels. So these are the different kinds of things which occur in our body whenever we are exposed to more sound, or what is more than required thing. Now we have a new branch in biology, or a new area of study in biology, that is called as a exposome concept. So what is happening here actually, we have certain kind of susceptibility in the body, like we are having susceptibility from our genotype, but unless we have that factors in the environment, we are not going to show the problem. Okay, so when environment and these genes mix together and they are in a proper balance, then we will be having the problem. So even we have susceptibility and environment is good, then we don't have disease. So the environment should also be present, and the susceptible genotype should also be present to get the disease phenotype. So this is what this entire exposome concept is all about. So when we talk about exposome, it is nothing but a lifelong sum of all the environmental contributors to human physiology as well as pathophysiology. So whatever we are getting exposed to different things, they are involved in our normal physiology, such as our development of immune system is one important aspect. Apart from that, this particular whatever we are getting from outside, like we are getting some kind of chemicals which are not good for our health, we are taking it and that is causing cancer and different kinds of allergy and autoimmune disorders. This is because of the we are getting exposed to these particular things, and that are triggering this entire thing. So if you try to break down this exposome concept into entire thing, it will fall into two categories. One is external specific external environment, other is general external environment. So in case of specific external environment, we have the diet, consumer products, physical activity, tobacco, water, and in case of general external environments, we have climate, traffic, urban environment, green spaces, and socio-economic status of the thing. And apart from this, these two factors will come and merge with internal environment, that is nothing but our genotype, which include how this genotype is indirectly responsible for the transcriptomics, proteomics, and the metabolomics, like what kind of RNAs which are generated, what kind of proteins which are coming up, and what kind of metabolism which is occurring. So all of them will determine what is the overall risk of this individual for the development of a particular disease. Now we will move to the next part, that is risk factors. So like whatever studies we have, which is across the globe, which include global burden of disease study, WHO study, and global health observatory study, they in all these studies, one thing which was pretty much common is they were able to link environmental factors to the non-communicable disease. Now what happens in the recent, like last 2 decades or something like that, so especially before independence, India was suffering from lots of communicable diseases. But from the past 2 decades, the entire curve has shifted towards the non-communicable diseases, and all these major studies could able to identify that. So environment is going to play a major role in the causation as well as the outcome of the non-communicable diseases. So we have a so these are the different statistics which are showing the like global deaths and what is the percentage of CV and everything. And if you look this particular statistics which is showing that your CVD are causing the highest global death, then we have a cancer, then we have pulmonary problem, then we have HIV. So the different risk factors for CVD include high blood pressure, high cholesterol, overweight and obesity, air pollution, physical inactivity, unhealthy diet, diabetes, tobacco, kidney disease, harmful use of alcohol, and in this particular thing, they didn't mention the noise pollution because this is a very new parameter which is being considered now. Now we will move to the Indian context. Now, if you like we have a data from the 2014. If you look this data from the 2014, you could able to see that every year we have a regular increase in the number of deaths which is causing because of the CVDs. And if you look this 5-year statistics, it is showing that we have around 53% increase in the CVD deaths. This is a very alarming fact because this is showing that we are dying because of CVDs and which is increasing every year. So government as well as those who are involved in this particular area has to take a serious note of this particular thing, and we need to generate a proper awareness in the population so that we could able to reduce the deaths due to the CVDs in the Indian population. Now, in the next slide, we will be talking about which group is more susceptible to the deaths, which is caused by the CVDs among all the age groups. Now, if you look at this particular age group, 0 to 18, we have no deaths. But if you look at 19 to 13, again, we have a slight increase in the death from 2014 to 2019. And here also we can see the similar trend, like around 1,000 are increasing per year, sorry, for the 5 years. And if you look this 46 to 60, this is the most critical age group which is having more number of deaths. So the government need to initiate the policies in this particular age group. So government has to formulate certain policies for 46 to 60 age group so that we could able to reduce the number of deaths which are occurring in this population group. Now, another important point is if you try to look this cardiovascular context in India and the other countries, so Indians are showing CVD problems much earlier when compared to other ethnic groups which are scattered throughout the world. So if you take European population, American population, or the African population, if you try to compare Indian context with other populations, you will find that Indians are able to show, or Indians are showing the symptoms of CVD and deaths of CVD around 5 to 10 years before like the persons are showing these symptoms around 10 years earlier when compared to US and EU population. So definitely, so this indicates certain kind of genetic liability inside the Indian population. So we have certain thing like genetic predisposition towards the heart diseases. So the evidence for direct evidence is not so good, but a lot of evidence is occurring in the indirect way. Now suppose if we have a parents who are susceptible, even either of the parent is having a cardiomyopathy or the CVD susceptible gene.
Sandeep, are you there? I think there might be some.
Sandeep, you are not able to hear you.
I think there should be some technical glitch. Some internet issue might have. I think its system got stuck, I believe.
So could you please call to him once, because I
Yeah.
don't have mobile with me. You please call him.
Yeah, fine.
Thank you.
Subnakar sir,
Yeah.
this is Altaf. Please give a minute. Just there was power outage here, so
Okay.
there's a technical problem. It's being resolved right now.
Okay, fine. Thank you, Altaf.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah, please bear with us for 2 minutes. Yeah, sorry one and all. There's a small power fluctuation. Yeah, we'll resume very shortly. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, so good. Did you call Sandeep or should I call him? Yeah.
No, I already spoke to him, Rush. There is a small, power failure there. So he'll be just resuming in for 2 to 3 minutes. Yeah,
Yeah, no problem.
yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, Sandeep, are you there? No, please unmute yourself. No, please unmute yourself. Yeah.
Yes. Some technical problem. I will start everything.
Yeah, please present your slides.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just a minute. It is opening, sir. Sure. So I hope I'm audible and visible to everyone. Now we were discussing about this particular point. If either of the parent is having a genetic variant which is capable of causing the CVDs, then child will be having around 40 to 60% risk of developing the CVD in the future. Now scientists have investigated many genes which are responsible for the CVD, and but they could able to confirm very few genes which will definitely say are going to cause the CVD. Apart from that, as I told you earlier, there's a combination of the genes as well as the environment that will create a lethal combination that will cause the development of the disease. Now, next we will move to the epidemiology. So the first landmark study with this noise pollution and the effect on the cardiovascular system was done in the monkeys, and they could able to see that whenever the monkeys were exposed to the chronic noise pollution, they were increased in the around 30 mmHg of the blood pressure. So even like subsequent studies have confirmed that particular point, that chronic exposure to the noise will have an adverse effect on the CVDs. So further evidence came from the European Union, so where they could able to link the noise which is coming from the road, railway, and aircraft. So whatever any person who are exposed to these particular different kinds of noises, they could able to see that there are some kind of adverse changes in the CVD things. Apart from the CVD, this particular environmental noise, which is coming from the our transportation system, is also associated with the number of other diseases. So even the meta-analysis of all these studies is able to confirm the same point that whatever we have this noise pollution is going to cause the problem and more. So it is a new risk factor for the CVDs. For every 10 decibel increase, which is associated with the causation of CVDs. So your railway noise has been associated with the myocardial infarction, and the same thing was also confirmed in the Swiss study. Now, if you look this particular thing, this is a kind of meta-analysis where you could able to show the different studies which are associated with the stroke, coronary artery disease, depression, and anxiety. Now, this day, evening, and night, whatever we have this LDEN, this is standing for the day, evening, and night. So, whenever the persons are exposed to more than 45 decibel noise from the aircraft or something like that, they are going to have the stroke. Okay, and even if the road noise also there, then they have to into two different things. One is incidence and mortality, and they have shown their respective odds ratio thing. What is happening? What it is a protective or it is going to cause a problem? Something like that. They have shown the things. And when we have this particular more than 54 decibels, it is going to be associated with the coronary artery disease, depression, and anxiety. But whenever we have this particular noise which is coming at the night, like whenever we have this noise pollution specifically which is occurring in the night, which is in the range of more than 40 to 42 decibel, we have the sleep disturbances. So this particular figure is trying to tell you one important point is that, so whatever we have this noise pollution is not only associated with the CVDs, it is also going to be cause stroke, depression, and anxiety, as well as sleep disturbance. And sleep disturbance is associated with all different kinds of health issues in the humans as well as other animals. Now we will move to the human studies. Like the first studies of this particular noise pollution was done in the Germany. So they took around 1,005 individuals and they divided these individuals into two groups. So one group was exposed to the lesser noise and other group was exposed to the more noise. And after the study period, they have checked certain parameters in the more noise group, and they could able to see that peripheral circulation problem, like there is having a low circulation in the peripheral thing, like the circulation is not appropriate, and we have the disturbance in the heart, and they could not able to balance because the entire balancing thing depends upon the certain things which are available in the ears. So whenever we have this more noise in this particular group, they are even causing the balancing problem in the humans. And there was another study that is called as a Speedwell study. Again, they tried to measure the association between the noise and the CVDs, and they could able to see that the noise was causing higher plasma triglyceride levels, platelet count, plasma viscosity, and blood glucose levels. And apart from that, they could also able to see that this noise was increasingly associated with higher systolic and diastolic blood pressure as well as heart rate. Now in a separate study, which is totally independent from the other two studies, they could able to see what was the condition on the nighttime transportation noise which is happening to the individuals. And they could able to see that, so they have compared two groups of individuals, one with the nighttime noise and other with the nighttime without noise. And they could able to see that the persons in the nighttime whom are exposed to the noise, they have a higher blood pressure level when compared to the control group. And apart from that, they could also see that whatever we have the dipping in the night. So what happens when we are trying to rest, our heart rate will slows down because we are not doing any function, it will slow down. So even this dipping is not appropriate in them, which is in a control sample. So we are having a lot more problem in the persons who are exposed to the noise pollution during the night. So furthermore, they could able to see that there is a higher glutathione peroxidase levels, So these glutathione peroxidase levels are very, very important because they will try to reduce the reactive oxygen species levels. So what is happening? Whatever we have this noise pollution, that is increasing the reactive oxygen species in the cardiovascular system. And to control that particular problem, the body is trying to use a counter mechanism by increasing the levels of glutathione peroxidase levels. Apart from that, what they could able to see that systolic and diastolic blood pressure is also high, and they could able to see the DNA damage in the individuals. And another study is this particular study is based on the aircraft, and they could able to expose individual, like they took the individuals who are exposed to the railway noise as well as aircraft noise, and they studied their vascular endothelial function, and they could able to see that there are lots of disturbances in the endothelial function, and the sleep quality is totally disturbed, and we have higher levels of stress hormones, and the inflammation is there in the healthy individuals as well as cat patients. So even in the healthy individuals, like we have took two different kinds of patients. One is coronary artery disease patients, other is healthy patients. Even when we have exposed them to this particular thing, that is a railway noise and aircraft noise, even in the even in the normal healthy individuals, the entire sleep quality was reduced, and they have increased hormone level, and we have endothelial dysfunction and decreased pulse rate. Here the endothelial dysfunction means, like we have two kinds of cardiac problems. One is obstructive, other is non-obstructive. So in case of obstructive, what happens? We have the accumulation of the cholesterol that is causing the that is blocking the blood flow. But in case of endothelial dysfunction, here we don't have any kind of cholesterol blockage. Still, the entire artery will try to constrict. Okay, in both the conditions, is we have the constriction of the artery, but there we have the accumulation of the cholesterol. But in the endothelial dysfunction, there is no accumulation of the cholesterol. Still, we have the contraction of the artery, and that is causing the heart-related problems. Now, what they have done? So they have injected vitamin C into the healthy individuals. So what they could able to see that on the injection of vitamin C into the healthy individuals, they could able to reverse these entire changes whatever happening in the CVD. So that indicates that the entire noise pollution through reactive oxygen species is causing the tissue damage. And your vitamin C is a very, very important ingredient that will prevent or that will stop the reactive oxygen species in the tissue. So that clearly indicates that there is a unbalance between the antioxidants and the oxidants in the tissue, and that is causing the pathological features in the heart condition. Now similarly, they have done another studies with the train where they were able to expose individuals to the at night time 30 train events and 60 train events. Again, they could able to see that there is a decrease in the quality of sleep and entire like dilation of the brachial artery. Again, what they have done, again they have injected this particular person with vitamin C, and again the things got reversed. And they took this particular person's blood and they will try to look for the proteomic analysis, and they could able to see that alterations in the redox system, pro-thrombotic system, and pro-inflammatory pathways. Apart from that, whatever we have this noise is also going to affect our immune system pretty much adversely. So a large cross-sectional cohort studies on the immune system function, which they have investigated, they could able to see that these particular persons who are exposed to the noise have higher levels of interleukin-12 and the C-reactive protein. Not only that, they could able to see that the natural killer cells are also decreased, which are very, very important to control the cancer formation. And apart from that, they are creating susceptibility to the noise pollution in future conditions. Apart from that, they have also increased the stress hormones in the body that will create a much more problems. So overall, we can say that noise pollution is also disturbing the immune system, which is very, very essential for our normal survival. Then we have another study, and the main aim of this study, they were looking for the what kind of changes are occurring on the epigenetic level. So they could able to see that So this whatever we have the transportation noise as well as air pollution together independently, they are having they would able to change the methylation patterns on the numerous genes, and these numerous genes fall under the category of inflammation, cellular development, and immune response. Apart from that, and in the further analysis have revealed that nocturnal intermittent train or traffic noise is associated with the arterial stiffness. Means your arteries are going to get stiffened, which will cause the future heart-related diseases. Then we have another study from the German, that is called as the German cohort study. It is a long-term nighttime traffic noise study, and this study aim was to look what is happening at the subclinical level. So like we have, like before having the full-blown disease, we have certain subclinical level condition, and the main aim of this condition was to look at this subclinical level condition, and they could able to see that even at a subclinical level, we have elevated stress hormone levels, increased recruitment of the immune cells, and impaired cardiovascular function. So what is happening? So because of noise pollution, they are triggering the immune system in inappropriate way, and this entire immune system is migrating towards the cardiovascular tissue, and where they are causing the damage. Now the intensity of the damage at the cardiac tissue depends upon the activity of the immune system. If the immune system is more active, we will be having more and more damage to the cardiovascular system. Now this is what is happening at the artery level. Now you can see this is a control condition where we have a normal artery, but when you expose an individual to the around 30 decibel noise, we have the constriction. Now when you expose them to the 60 decibel, again we have a constriction. But now after that, what we are doing, we are injecting them with the vitamin C, and we could able to see that we are getting back it to the around pretty much normal to the condition. So this particular figure is clearly showing that whatever noise we have, this noise is indirectly causing the vasoconstriction, and that in turn is causing the different kinds of cardiovascular diseases. Another point what we can say is they are creating a susceptibility to the other CVDs, or they are helping other CVDs to precipitate and cause the major problems. Now we will move on to the animal studies from this point. Now, like they use different kinds of animal models to investigate what is happening, what is the effect of the aircraft or the railway noise or the traffic noise on the cardiovascular biomarkers. And they could able to see that, which is a very common thing, that increase in the stress hormone levels, blood pressure, vascular and cerebral oxidative stress, and inflammation. Now, as we talked earlier, they are also involved with the stroke. So now scientists wanted to know which kind of genes are upregulated or downregulated during this noise thing. So they went for the entire RNA sequence analysis from these particular animals, and they wanted to look which particular gene network is getting lost or that totally dysregulated. For that, they have done the RNA sequence analysis, and their sequence analysis have identified 4 most upregulated genes in the aortic tissue, which include ZBTB44, which is zinc finger domain DNA binding thing. Again, another one is YPEL2, a protein involved in transcription. And we have another protein SETAD4, this is a central phosphatase signal. Then we have another protein, that is IHH, which is involved in kinase pathway. Then they look for which are the genes which are downregulated after this particular condition, that is noise pollution. And again, they could able to find 4 genes which has the extreme of downregulation, which include SAGS, NBA, NBL1, NR4A3, and PTPN4. And after that, they will trying to look for what are the different kind of signaling pathways which are getting affected because of this noise pollution. They could able to see that the signaling pathways which are involved in immune system, cell adhesion, cell cycle control, apoptosis, growth and proliferation, and all these kinase mediated signaling systems are getting affected. And the most important thing, they could able to see that in all of them, the central transcription factor which is involved is FOXO. Okay, so the FOXO is majorly disrupted in the noise induced pollution. So apart from that, whatever we have this aircraft noise pollution, it is not only disturbing all these things, it is also disturbing the circadian rhythm, insulin, and calcineurin. So what we can say that this small amount of pollution on daily basis is acting like a slow poison, which is going to cause a bigger problem for us in the older ages. And what is happening, what they have done, they have deleted one gene that is called NOX2 gene, NADPH oxidase 2 gene. This particular gene is very important for the generation of reactive oxygen species. So once you delete this gene from the system, the entire thing is coming back. So this particular experiment, that is deletion of the NOX2 gene, clearly says that the reactive oxygen species mediated damage is occurring in the tissue, and that is responsible for the damage. So if you could able to control the reactive oxygen species level in the body or in the particular tissue, we could able to nullify the effects of noise pollution in the humans. Now next one is neuroendocrine effects. So acute noise exposure for about 30 minutes increases the stress hormone levels, and in case of rats, when they have exposed rats to the 30 minutes 85 decibel, they could able to see the upregulation of two mRNAs, that is CRH and CRH1 mRNA, and they could able to cause so they have exposed it for the 30 minutes for 3 days, and they could able to see that increase in the corticosterone and the lipid peroxidation levels, and these particular levels are causing abnormal changes in the cardiac tissue, and which include inflamed areas in the pericardium, dilated veins following the 70 decibel, more dilated veins in the periphery of the pericardium, and mean arterial blood pressure increased, and higher levels of circulating levels of nitric oxide, and levels of oxidative stress marker, that is melanoaldehyde. Now we are going to look for what is the mechanism through which they are acting all these things. Now, so the first and foremost thing, the entire perception of the noise is occurring at the level of brain. So as soon as we have this noise pollution, so this will disturb our normal sleep cycle. Then we have this will going to affect the HPA system, that is nothing but your so this is your brain axis and sympathetic nervous system. So your stress hormones like sleep disturbance is causing the generation of ROS, that in turn affect this HPA axis and the sympathetic nervous system. This in turn results in the formation or generation of stress hormones, that is nothing but corticosterone and the noradrenaline and dopamine, and that these particular hormones in turn cause vasoconstriction, immune cell activation, and the induction of not only CVD as well as cerebral, like stroke as well as CVD related problems, and they will start the oxidative stress. And apart from whatever we have this adrenaline, non-adrenaline, and dopamine, they will in turn activate the neuronal activation. So this neuronal activation will cause astrocyte activation, oxidative stress, and neuroinflammation. And these are the different markers of neuroinflammation which is occurring because of the reactive oxygen species, CD68, INOS, and interleukin 16. Apart from that, they are also going to activate this RAS system. So what is happening? Apart from that, we have the activation of the renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system, and endothelin 1. And this in turn they will activate the angiotensin 2, and they will activate diacylglycerol and protein kinase C, that in turn activate this protein 47, which will phosphate on the serine 328, that in turn activate the nitric oxide NADPH oxidase 2, so that will cause the generation of reactive oxygen species, and this in turn activate the CAM kinase 2, that in turn decrease the levels of the NOS, which is important for the controlling of this particular nitric oxide things. And so what is happening ultimately during that entire pathway, we have the generation of reactive oxygen species. So once we have the increase in the reactive oxygen species, what our system will do, our system will try to counteract this particular problem by increasing the anti-oxidative enzymes, which include MAX1, NOS3, HMAX1, PGC1. These are the different kind of antioxidant enzymes. So in case of similarly in case of cardiac tissue, we have again so once we have this noise, this particular stress hormones are coming and they are causing all this problem. We have the down regulation of connexin 43 and the FOXO3, and we have the activation of the this nitric NOx2 activation, and this NOx2 activation will cause the generation of hydrogen peroxide and the oxygen free radicals that will damage more and more tissue. Similarly, in case of aorta, they could able to see that there is upregulation of CRY1, PARP1, and downregulation of the FOXO3, PR1, and other things, which is causing because of the reactive oxygen species. Again, we have the disturbances in the entire vascular signaling and remodeling, cell death, antioxidant defense, and upregulation of this particular set of genes and downregulation of this particular set of genes. And in case of aorta, again we have this particular thing where we have, so this NOS activation is mixing with the nitric oxide. So nitric oxide is a very important secondary messenger which is available in the cell that will perform certain important functions. And whatever we have this reactive oxygen species which is coming from the NOx2 is mixing with the nitric oxide to form another very damaging perinitroxyl radical that will have a protein damaging functions. And we know that most of the functions which are there in the cell is mediated by the protein. So as soon as our proteins which are required for the normal function are damaged, we have endothelial dysfunction, increased blood pressure, vascular oxidative stress, inflammation, cerebral oxidative stress, and neuroinflammation. And what we can do now, this entire problems can be controlled by two things. If we could able to increase the levels of FOX3 transcription factor, and we could able to remove this NOx2 deletion. So we have to do two particular functions. In this particular case, we have to remove the NOx2 and we have to upregulate or we have to activate the FOXO3 transcription factor. If you could able to do the two particular points, we could able to control all this particular problem and the cardiac damage. So apart from that, whatever we have the circulation, even in the circulation we have the increased levels of interleukin 1 beta, interleukin 1/6, interleukin 12 and other things. So this oxidative stress is also causing different kinds of DNA damage inside the cells. And these damaged cells, immune system cells, they are active, they are damaging and activating these immune system cells, and they're coming towards the cardiac system and they're causing more and more damage to the cardiac tissue. Now this, and not only this, whatever we discussed about circulation, aorta, lungs and cardiac tissue, even these ROS are going to cause certain changes. Our noise induced ROS are also damaging the mitochondria. So mitochondrial permeability transient protein. So the opening of this protein is getting disturbed, and the calcium handling, like calcium handling is very important for the normal cellular process, and the entire calcium handling process is getting problem. Then we have the activation of melanooxidase, which is going to cause a abnormal signaling system inside the mitochondria, and that in turn cause the ROS activation that will damage the DNA. Now from here we will move to the circadian clock and epigenetic circadian clock. Now whenever we have the disturbance in the circadian clocks, it is a no risk factor for the CVIDs. And your aircraft noise, which is around 72 decibel for 4 years, is going
Sandeep, are you there? Yeah, Sandeep, unmute yourself. Yeah.
Now again, similarly, we have the circadian clock. Again, whenever we have this noise pollution, and noise pollution is causing the sleep disturbances specifically in the night.
Yeah, sorry to
And
disturb you,
because you're not
Sandeep.
able to sleep
We
properly.
are not able to see, Sandeep, we are not able to see the slides.
Okay. So slide like how to on the entire laptop, it will take again 5-10 minutes. So because of that, I started with the phone.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, please go ahead.
So again, because it is causing the sleep disturbance and it will disturb the entire circadian rhythm in the body, and that in turn triggers a different kind of problems. And again, they are again falling into the same thing, like they will indirectly they will activate the nitric NADPH oxidase, that in turn create the cross radicals, and that in turn cause your CVDs. And again, we have this epigenetic problem finally. So specifically, they have seen what kind of changes which are occurring in the amygdala of the brain, because this is a very important organ which is involved in the so many important functions from the brain, and they could able to see that two non-coding RNAs are altered in the amygdala. So that is 134.1 and 134 are something. These are the two different kinds of non-coding RNAs which are altered when compared to normal thing, and which is showing that. So they could able to see the epigenetic changes in the cardiovascular system, neural system, as well as the other system and immune system. So this completes my talk. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to take it.
Yeah, please, anyone who has got questions, you can feel free to, you can unmute and then you can ask the questions. Yeah, thank you.
So very good work, Sandeep. Is this a part of your PhD?
No, sir, it's not a part of my PhD, sir. It's a recent review article from the Nature Review Cardiology.
Okay. So you also expect some kind of noise-driven, maybe influence of epigenetics, or maybe the influence of environment. Even otherwise, the person is not associated with other comorbidities.
Sorry, sir, can you repeat this question one more time?
Yeah. So, say, here, we are only talking about CVDs, right? So let's assume that a person is not not just associated with CVD, but you might have other associated factors, other complex diseases like diabetes and cholesterol. So would you still expect this noise-driven, thing, that is associated with those patients? Even with other comorbidities, not necessarily the cardiovascular disease.
Actually, I could not able to get your sound properly, sir. There's some breakage in the sound. What you're asking is what is the this particular noise pollution is not only causing CVDs, but is also causing other diseases like stroke and immune system problems. Is it the question, sir?
Yeah.
Sir, one thing is we are cardiac tissue, but exactly we are not just a cardiac tissue. We are entirely a multifunctional unit which depends on the different organs. Ultimately, we are interconnected one organism. So anything is happening to cardiac tissue, that will have the adverse effect on the other tissues, brain, lung, or liver, because all the organs are interconnected. Like whatever is happening in the brain, that particular information is going to the kidneys and the heart and the other parts of the body. So what happens ultimately? So I think it's like a small triggering event that will create a cascade effect, and ultimately we could able to see that all the organs are coming under the influence of noise pollution in the future.
Yeah, thank you, Sandeep. So any more questions, please? Yeah.
Yeah, there was good presentation, Sandeep. Could you please,
Thank you,
like, any specific epigenetic markers you have seen with regard to noise pollution and then CVD?
Like in the animals, they could able to find 4 genes which are upregulated, sir. So they have, like in the humans, it was not possible for them. So in the animal, they have done that experiment and they could able to see there are 4 genes which are upregulated due to the noise pollution. So I just.
Okay. That's fine because you have net issue there. Yeah, I can take it from you later. Yeah. Thank you, Sandeep.
Okay.
Thank you, Sandeep. Please feel to talk and ask your questions if any further. I think if there are no further questions, Prash, would you like to say a few words?
I think I request all the participants to unmute the microphone and give a thumping round of applause to Sandeep. And probably we can have a good photograph with him.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, could you please on your cameras, everyone? Kartika B. Ramesh, Shaina Parveen, Jairaman sir, Uzma Noor Shah. Yeah, could you please on your camera, please? Jairaman sir?
All of you have a big smile.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you one and all. Thank you very much, Sandeep. Thank you, Subbu.
Yeah, thank you, Prash. Yeah. Okay, Sandeep. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Bye.